Talk's friendly little proletariat uprising. America's first competition talk show. You're in the hub.
Good day to you, and welcome to the Hub Internet Show. Happy Cinco de Mayo to wherever you may roam this evening. And we're going to touch on the immigration debate just a little bit later on in the program. If you're joining us for the first time, congratulations. You have found America's first competition talk show, the first in love and war on this forum. And we're glad to have you here. I'm your host, Joel Aaron, and I'm joined all this week by Jared, who has now won 2 rounds of the face-off debate, and he will be stuck away into the reoccurring rotation of panelists. Also on the program this week, I've got Damon and Tom, who are going to be on the face-off a little bit later on in the program. You can post your vote on who won the face-off debate in the comments section of Wednesday's YouTube video. That would be today. And we will tell you who the winner is next week. Now, I want to tell you a little bit about this real quickly, because there are a group of Cambridge scientists right now who have recently discovered that, they haven't recently discovered that oxytocin is the chemical that increases estrogen levels and that type of thing, but they've recently discovered that they can put this in a bottle, in a spray formula, and that they can sell it to women now, and that if you use this spray, your man will become more sensitive. So it's basically like feminism in a can. And the idea behind this is quite frankly preposterous to me. I remember back in the days I was working at Star Schmuck's Coffee back in college, and we used to have a woman who was the soccer mom who would literally come and buy a soy latte every day for her husband because she had heard somehow that soy increased estrogen levels. And so we figured if we bought a soy latte, it'll make him a more sensitive man. I don't know where the logic went from there, but basically that was about as far as it went in my mind. And I think, honestly, I want a bottle of spray, guys, that you can spray on your woman to make her more butch. So she'll come out and help you with yard work and throwing rocks and bricks around. Am I off base, or would this sell? This would sell, wouldn't it, Tom?
You know, I don't really want my women butch. I want my women more feminine. Now maybe, like Midtown.
Well, I mean, if it wears off after few hours or so. I mean, long enough to get the yard work.
You know what, Joel? That'd be an awesome seller in Midtown Atlanta. I'm sure there are plenty of women down in Midtown Atlanta
probably
who would want to buy that product and have more butch women.
Yeah.
I think they're more in Decatur,
Jared?
not in Midtown, but...
maybe you're right about that.
Don't use the euphemism there, Mr. Clean. David, what do you think?
I mean, this sounds like snake oil to me. There's no way in the world this could work. And even if it did work, what man would accept this? I mean, no one. What man would say, "Sure, spray me, baby. I want to be more sensitive."
Alan Alda.
Man, that's a good reference.
There you go.
That is an old reference, but there's no one that came in my mind.
Well, there is a group of folks who need to calm down a little bit more, and apparently that group is illegal immigrants, which we are celebrating, I guess, today on Cinco de Mayo. We're celebrating this
Happy
debate.
Legal Immigrant
Legal immigrants. We're celebrating legality here on the Hub Internet Show. Let it be written. Let it be said. Okay, so here's the idea. Last Saturday, they had International Workers' Day. This was May 1st, and the immigrant population, illegal immigrant population from around the country to the tune of about 11 or 12 million, came out in mass to protest the new Arizona law. And basically, not really to protest the Arizona law, basically to promote the idea of legalizing, giving U.S. citizenship to these immigrants, workers. Now, it was really pushed by this Arizona bill that was passed just a week ago, which basically says that if you are caught, if you are pulled over, if you are arrested or brought in for questioning, if you are arrested rather for suspicion of unlawful activity or arrested for unlawful activity, then they have a right to pull your record, to see your papers, to see if you're a legal citizen or not. Which, quite frankly, I don't think is any different than what we already have, Jared. But why is this such a big deal to so many folks?
It's not a big deal. Well, it's a big deal to the opposition.
You're going to kill the segment. It's a big deal, Jared.
It's a big deal to the opposition. It's not a big deal to most people. In fact, if you look at there was polling. There's national polling done by Rasmussen, Gallup, and some group called Angus Reid Public Opinion, who I've never heard of. And all of them had Rasmussen had 60% in favor, Gallup had 51% in favor, and this was all at the time of the signing of the bill. And then after the onslaught of, the political onslaught that we've had in the media and how, this is just Gestapo has come to Arizona, the Rasmussen did another poll and found that in the state of Arizona, 64% were still favorable for this. And on top of that, Governor Brewer's approval went from 40 to 56%. That is a gigantic leap, and it's all over this bill. And at the end of the day, there's nothing about this that's should be offensive to anyone.
Well, 7 out of 10 Arizonians, I believe, agree with this bill. And the thing about it is, if you looked at any of the video from Saturday, you had 50,000 people show up in Los Angeles. You had close to, they say several thousand in Chicago. You had 8 million people show up in Arizona, and that's a state of 6.5 million people. And so, I mean, it was an amazing turnout. No, I mean, who's counting? Certainly not NBC. But the thing about it is that they pulled out at one shot I saw on Fox. Literally, they showed a satellite imaging of the thing. You could see them like the sands of the sea crossing the entire southern border, Damon. It was amazing to see just the passion that these folks have for
Well, I've got a couple things. One, I don't think the law says that that once you're arrested, then you can be interrogated a little further. Actually, it says if you're stopped under a reasonable suspicion,
okay,
then they can go into your legality or not. But actually, I gotta tell you, I disagree with the law. As a conservative, I absolutely disagree with the law. I think it's bad law. I think constitutionally, it'll be determined to be unconstitutional, I think, once challenged. Independent of that, the real issue in this case is that this really exemplifies how the federal government has failed their responsibility to keep Americans safe by closing down the border. They have not closed down the border. I think the law is bad law. I think it's bad politics for the right, because I think you will forever lose the Hispanic vote. But I do believe this is an issue that the federal government needs to address, and it's really embarrassing that we have not closed down.
But I mean, is it really harsh, Tom, unconstitutional, or is it just annoying like the neighbor that paints the house yellow and it's nice?
You know, I really haven't followed it that closely. I know I've heard a little bit of reports about it. And I think it's really just a example of frustration from Arizonans who said, you know, the federal government is not doing what they're supposed to be doing. What can we do? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if it'd be unconstitutional or constitutional or not. I haven't really followed it there, but I think it's just frustration.
Well, I mean, Article 1, Section 8, Paragraph 4. Let's go back to the Constitution, because it says that you have to be at least 18 years old to become a legal resident. You have to prove that you are a lawful person, that you are, in other words, not unlawful activity. Obviously, if you're being pulled over, you were caught doing an unlawful act, or that you have to have somebody vouch for you for being a lawful citizen.
Yeah,
So,
Damon, are you getting into the search and seizure, unreasonable search and seizure?
Actually, I'm saying it's a violation of the Equal Protection Clause, because and I don't want to get too into the weeds of this, but the problem is, after you stop somebody, what this law allows you to do is then engage this individual and determine their legality if there's reasonable suspicion that you believe they are illegal alien. I would argue that because this is in Arizona, it is without a doubt that most Hispanic-looking people will be stopped, and they will fall under this law than any other group of people.
Well, I don't. If we're all lucky, this will just pass in states all across the nation, just like Al Sharpton's worried about. All right, let's have a face-off today, because we're running short on time over the country. 90 seconds on the clock, 45 seconds per person. Tom, you're the lawyer. You get the first word. Go.
Well, I think that in terms of product or this chemical or whatever it does, it probably won't work. But I think that each sex could benefit from being a little bit more, at least understanding the other sex a little bit better. Yeah, I think that probably would be the case. I think that men who can understand women better and women who can understand men better are going to have better relationships in general, and that if this product could do it, then that probably would help. But since I don't think this product would really work, it probably would have no bearing whatsoever.
So Tom has completely surrendered his masculinity, and Damon now gives 45 seconds for rebuttal to save all mankind. Damon.
I won, Tom. You're a wuss. I punched him. He fell down and cried like a girl.
All right, no ad hominem attacks. Let's go.
Hey, I take the harder position.
You have 20 seconds
I've
left.
got 20 seconds. Listen, I go back to nature. There is no animal in nature that in the male side wants to be more effeminate. Because if you're more effeminate in nature, you get eaten. So I submit that if it would destroy relationships if men walked around and they were being more effeminate, because the last thing you want is two effeminate people together. Oh, I'm sorry, that would be a homosexual relationship. Let's move on. I won, you lose.
Hey, wait.
No. There are no
I took the harder position. I had a choice.
All right,
and I took the harder position.
Bottom line is, if we sell these bottles, according to Damon, more men get eaten. We'll see you tomorrow on the Hub.
When I woke up this morning on the wrong side of the bed.